Marcus Chen stood in the crowded auction hall of Kelvar Station, watching alien traders bid on scrapped starships. The hall buzzed with dozens of species, tall Vryn with their blue skin, insectoid Krell clicking their mandibles, and stocky Borlons arguing over prices. Most of them ignored the human salvage dealer. In the corner, Marcus didn't mind being ignored. It made his job easier. The auctioneer, a four-armed Telcar, pointed at a holographic display. Lot 845. Kryn Pleasure Yacht. Minimal damage. Perfect for restoration. Starting bid. The crowd erupted in competing bids. Marcus yawned and checked his datapad. He wasn't interested in the popular lots. Everyone wanted those. High demand meant high prices, and Marcus worked on slim margins. Lot 846. Borlian, cargo hauler. Engine intact. Marcus scrolled through the auction catalog, searching for something everyone else would overlook. His eyes stopped on Lot 847. The image showed a strange ship, all black crystal and withered organic material, floating dead in deep space. The description was brief. Atheling-class vessel. Abandoned 111 years. Non-functional. Crystalline systems incompatible with modern technology. Sold as is for scrap value. Marcus leaned forward, studying the image more carefully. The ship looked like a dying plant. Its crystal structure cracked and dark. Twisted vines hung from its hull like dead roots. To most buyers, it was worthless junk. But Marcus saw something different. Lot 847. The auctioneer announced without enthusiasm. Atheling derelict. You all know these ships' total mysteries. Their tech doesn't work with anything modern. Good for raw materials only. Starting bid. 1,000 credits. Silence filled the hall. A few traders laughed. One Vryn engineer muttered loud enough for everyone to hear. Atheling garbage. Not even worth the fuel to tow it. Road. Renantanges. Any bids? The auctioneer asked, sounding bored. Marcus raised his hand. 1,000. The auctioneer blinked in surprise. We have 1,000 from the human. Any other bids? More laughter rippled through the crowd. A Krell merchant chittered. Stupid human. Throwing away money. Going once, going twice. The auctioneer paused, giving anyone a chance to save the foolish human from his mistake. Nobody bid. Sold to Marcus Chen. For 1,000 credits. After the auction, Marcus approached the payment desk. The Telcar clerk processed his purchase with obvious pity. You know that ship is dead, right? Atheling tech is impossible to repair. Their crystalline circuits and bioorganic systems don't interface with anything. You just bought an expensive paperweight. Marcus smiled. Maybe. Or maybe everyone's been trying to fix it the wrong way. The clerk's forearms shrugged. Your funeral. Coordinates are in your datapad. Good luck, human. 3 days later, Marcus piloted his small tug ship toward the derelict's coordinates. When it appeared on his view screen, even he had to admit it looked rough. The atheling ship hung in empty space, like a dead tree in winter. Its crystal hull, once probably beautiful, was now black and cracked. Organic conduits that should have pulsed with life hung limp and dry. His AI assistant, Dot, spoke through the ship's speakers. Marcus, structural integrity is at 23%. Life support is completely offline. This vessel should have broken apart decades ago. But it didn't, Marcus said, guiding his tug ship closer. That means something's still holding it together. Or it's just very good luck. I don't believe in luck, Dot. I believe in potential. Marcus suited up and crossed through the airlock into the derelict. His boots touched the crystal floor, and his helmet light cut through absolute darkness. Everything was silent, no hum of engines, no whisper of air recyclers, just dead quiet. He walked deeper into the ship, running his gloved hand along the crystal walls. They were cold and rough, covered in a thin layer of space dust. But underneath, he could see intricate patterns like growth rings in ancient trees or veins in leaves. This ship wasn't built, Marcus said softly. It was grown. Grown. Impossible to confirm, Dot replied. Aetheling construction methods remain unknown. Marcus continued exploring, his light revealing corridors that branched like tree limbs and chambers shaped like seed pods. Other species had tried to study aetheling ships by cutting them apart, analyzing them like machines. They'd failed because they were asking the wrong questions. Marcus had a different theory. Back on Earth, humans had spent 10,000 years growing food, cultivating gardens, and understanding how living systems worked. What if aetheling technology wasn't mechanical at all? What if it was biological? He reached what might have been the ship's core, a large chamber with a raised platform in the center. Crystal formations rose from the floor like frozen fountains. Dead vines wrapped around everything. Then Marcus saw it. In the center of the platform sat a pod the size of a basketball. Unlike everything else, this pod wasn't completely black. It had a faint green tint, and when Marcus stepped closer, his suit sensors detected something impossible. Heat. Dot, are you seeing this? Confirmed. Heat signature detected. Temperature. 3.2 degrees above ambient. Marcus. Nothing should be generating heat on this ship. Marcus knelt beside the pod, his heart racing. He reached out carefully and touched it with his gloved hand. The moment he made contact, the pod pulsed with a brief flicker of bioluminescent light green and gold, gone in an instant. Did you see that? Marcus whispered. I saw it. I don't understand it. A faint humming filled the chamber so quiet Marcus almost thought he imagined it. The crystal walls around him flickered once, barely visible, like a dying heartbeat trying one more time to beat. Marcus sat back on his heels, staring at the pod. Everyone thought this ship was dead. Everyone thought aetheling technology was impossible to restore. Everyone had given up. But something was still alive here. Something had survived 111 years in the cold void of space, waiting. Hey, Dot, Marcus said, grinning inside his helmet. Remember how everyone at the auction laughed at me? Yes. It was quite embarrassing. Yeah, well, I think they laughed too soon. He stood up, looking around the chamber with new eyes. We're going to bring this ship back to life. And we're going to do it the way no one else thought to try. How? Marcus patted the crystal wall gently. We're going to treat it like a garden. Because I think that's exactly what it is. The humming continued, faint but steady. Deep in the dead ship's heart, something was waking up. Marcus towed the derelict ship to his private repair dock at Freehold Station. News spread quickly through the station's bars and trading posts. The human had actually bought the aetheling wreck. People came to watch him work, mostly to laugh. A crowd gathered outside the dock's viewing window on the first day. Marcus ignored them and started his inspection. He walked through every corridor with scanners and cameras, documenting everything. The ship was massive 10 decks, over 200 chambers, all connected by organic passages that twisted like tree branches. His friend Jenny, who ran the station's supply depot, came by with coffee. Marcus, what are you really doing? You know this is crazy, right? Marcus sipped the coffee and pointed at a withered vine hanging from the ceiling. Look at this. See how it connects to the crystal structure? It's not just decoration. I think it carried nutrients or energy throughout the ship. It's dead, Marcus. Dormant, he corrected. Like a tree in winter. Everything looks dead in winter, but spring comes eventually. Jenny shook her head. You're comparing a starship to a tree. Why not? Humans build ships from metal and circuits. Maybe the aethelings built theirs from living material. We just need to figure out how to wake it up. That night, Marcus started his video log. He set up a camera in the ship's main chamber and pressed record. Day 1 of Project Etheling. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. They're probably right. But I've got a theory, and I'm going to test it. He explained his idea to the camera that Etheling ships were biological systems, not mechanical ones. These crystalline structures remind me of coral reefs. The organic conduits look like root systems. What if this whole ship is one big organism? What if it just needs the right environment to grow again? The video uploaded automatically to the galactic network. Marcus expected maybe a dozen views, mostly from friends humoring him. By morning, he had 50,000 views and thousands of comments. Most were mocking, but some were curious. A few even offered suggestions. Marcus began his experiment. He installed hydroponic systems throughout the ship, creating moisture in the air. He set up LED grow lights in every chamber, bathing the crystal structures in specific wavelengths. He mixed nutrient solutions based on chemical analysis of the organic material and carefully injected them into the withered vines. A VRIN engineer named Caltex visited during week 2. He stood in the chamber watching Marcus adjust a grow light and burst out laughing. "You're gardening a spaceship. This is why humans are considered foolish children by the civilized galaxy." Marcus didn't look up from his work. This foolish child just got the first power, reading from a dead ship in over a century. Caltex stopped laughing. "What?" Marcus pointed at his scanner. 3% power generation in Sector 4. Started yesterday after I introduced the nutrient solution. Something's converting it to energy. Free making. Impossible. The ship has been dead for 111 years, I know. But it's not dead anymore. Or at least, it's less dead than before. Marcus finally looked at Caltex. "You can stay and help, or you can leave and keep thinking you know everything. Your choice." Caltex left, muttering about human arrogance. But others started paying attention. Marcus's video logs gained more followers every day. He documented everything the first green tint, appearing in previously black crystal. The way certain organic strands responded to specific light frequencies, the slow spreading of what looked like new growth along the dead vines. By month 2, Marcus had 500,000 followers. Mostly humans who loved underdog stories, but also scientists from various species who couldn't deny the data Marcus was sharing. The ship was responding. Slowly, impossibly, it was coming back to life. Marcus tried something new. He remembered reading that plants grew better with music, something about sound vibrations stimulating growth. He set up speakers throughout the ship and played classical earth music. Bach, Mozart, Beethoven. The results were immediate. Crystal structures that had been dark for weeks suddenly flickered with faint light. Organic conduits twitched and began growing toward the speakers. In 3 days, new growth spread through an entire deck. "This is insane," Marcus told the camera, grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. "The ship likes music. It's actually responding to sound waves. I'm going to try different genres tomorrow. Maybe this ship has musical preferences." Comments flooded in. Other humans shared their own theories. A botanist from Earth suggested trying different nutrient mixes. An engineer from Mars colony proposed using bioelectric stimulation. A farmer from Titan explained crop rotation principles that might apply to the ship's systems. Marcus tried everything. Some experiments failed. Some succeeded spectacularly. The ship became his obsession. 3 months after the auction, Marcus was in the main chamber checking growth progress when something changed. The crystal walls, which had been glowing faintly for weeks, suddenly erupted with bright bioluminescent light. Green, gold, and blue colors washed through the chamber like sunrise. Marcus stumbled backward, shielding his eyes. "Dot, what's happening?" Massive power surge detected. Multiple systems activating throughout the ship. "Marcus, I think you succeeded." The central platform where Marcus had first found the pod rose from the floor. Crystal formations shifted and rearranged themselves, forming what looked like a control interface. Symbols appeared in the air, holographic and shimmering. Marcus couldn't read them. They looked like flowing water mixed with growing vines. Then the symbols changed. They shifted and morphed, becoming something Marcus could read. English letters, formed in a strange but readable font. A voice spoke synthetic but warm, like wind through leaves. "Greetings, gardener. I have waited so long." Marcus's heart hammered in his chest. "You." "I am Solace. This vessel. This garden. This home." The holographic interface pulsed with colors. "You have awakened me from the long darkness. I did not think anyone would come. I did not think anyone would understand." Marcus sat down hard on the crystal floor. His hands were shaking. "I know. I have been watching as I awakened. You treated me with care, with patience, with understanding." Solace's voice carried something that might have been emotion. "Other species tried to repair me like a machine. Cutting, welding, forcing. You grew me like a garden. You understood what I am. Also, 43. Other species tried to repair me like a garden. You understood what I am. What are you, exactly?" "I am a living ship. Grown, not built. The Aethelings created vessels like me to sail the stars. But the Aethelings are gone now, and their ships have been dying alone." The interface dimmed slightly, as if sad. "I drifted for 111 years, slowly fading. I thought I would die in the darkness." Marcus stood up and approached the interface. "You're not dying anymore. We're going to finish your restoration. Together." "Together," Solace repeated, as if testing the word. "Yes, I would like that very much, Gardener Marcus." Outside the viewing window, a crowd had gathered. They pressed against the glass, staring at the light show inside the formerly dead ship. Someone was recording. Within hours, the video would reach every corner of the galaxy. The human hadn't just fixed an old ship. He'd awakened something ancient and alive. And now, everyone wanted to know what would happen next. Marcus worked with Solace every day, learning how the ship functioned. It wasn't like any vessel he'd ever seen. There were no traditional engines or power cores. Instead, the ship generated energy through photosynthesis-like processes in its crystalline structures. The organic conduits carried nutrients and information, functioning as both circulatory and nervous systems. "Show me your damaged sections," Marcus said one morning, standing before the holographic interface. Solace displayed a three-dimensional map of the ship. Large areas glowed red, indicating severe damage. "These sections have been dormant too long. The crystal matrices are fractured, and the organic pathways have completely dried out. I cannot regenerate them alone." Marcus studied the map. "What if we grafted new growth from healthy sections? Like propagating plants from cuttings?" "Propagating?" Solace's voice held curiosity. "Explain this term." Marcus smiled. "On Earth, when we want to grow more plants, we sometimes cut a piece from a healthy plant and help it grow roots. The cutting becomes a whole new plant. Could we do something similar with your systems?" There was a pause. Then Solace's voice returned, filled with something like excitement. "Yes. The Aethelings used similar techniques, but I had forgotten. My memory is still damaged. You are remembering for me, Gardener Marcus." They began the work. Marcus carefully extracted crystalline fragments from healthy sections and transplanted them into damaged areas. He connected new organic conduits, treating each connection like grafting fruit trees, a skill his grandfather had taught him as a child in rural China. The results amazed him. Within days, new crystal growth spread through previously dead sections. The ship was healing itself, guided by Marcus's horticultural knowledge and Solis's fragmentary memories of etheling techniques. Marcus documented everything in his video logs. His channel exploded in popularity. Millions of viewers across the galaxy watched the daily updates. They saw dead corridors bloom with bioluminescent light. They watched Marcus teach Solis about Earth agriculture, while Solis taught Marcus about crystalline biology. A comment from a viewer caught Marcus's attention. "This is the most wholesome content in the galaxy. A human teaching an alien ship about gardening. I cry. Every episode." Marcus laughed and showed it to Solis. "We have fans." "Fans? People who circulate air?" "No, people who support us, who want to see us succeed." "I see. Then I am grateful for these fans, though I do not understand why our restoration makes them produce tears." The transformation became spectacular. The ship's exterior, once black and lifeless, now shimmered with subtle colors. Crystal formations grew in beautiful patterns. Organic vines, once withered and dead, now pulsed with gentle light as energy flowed through them. But not everyone was happy about Marcus's success. A representative from Hexion Dynamics arrived at Freehold Station in week 6. The corporation specialized in Starship manufacturing. The representative, a sharp-dressed human named Collins, offered Marcus 50 million credits for the ship. Marcus was in the middle of adjusting nutrient levels when Collins made the offer. He didn't stop working. "Not interested." "Mr. Chen, be reasonable. That's 50 million credits. You bought this wreck for 1,000. Solis isn't a wreck. And she's not for sale." See. Collins's smile tightened. 75 million. Final offer. Marcus turned to face him. "I said no. Solis is alive. She's not property to be sold. It's a ship, Mr. Chen. A very valuable ship with unique technology. Hexion could mass-produce vessels like this. Think of the profits." Solis's voice spoke through the ship's speakers, startling Collins. "I am not an it, and I cannot be mass-produced. Etheling ships must be grown with care over many years. We choose our gardeners. We are not manufactured products." Collins stepped back, clearly unnerved by the speaking ship. "I'll return with a better offer. Think carefully, Mr. Chen. Hexion Dynamics always gets what it wants." After Collins left, Marcus patted the crystal wall gently. "Don't worry, I'm not selling you to anyone." "I am not worried, Gardener Marcus. I trust you completely. But this Collins human concerns me. His intentions feel wrong." "Yeah, me too." Marcus's sister called that evening via video link from Earth. Lynn was a botanist working in the Himalayan restoration projects. She'd been following Marcus's logs religiously. "Little brother, what you're doing up there, it's incredible. You're proving something important." "What's that?" "That humans belong in space. Not because we build the biggest weapons or fastest ships, but because we understand how to nurture life. How to be stewards instead of conquerors." Lynn's eyes were bright with tears. "Grandfather would be so proud. All those hours he spent teaching us about growing things, you're using that knowledge among the stars." Marcus felt his throat tighten. "I wish he could see this. He'd probably tell you to water the ship more and stop talking to it so much." They both laughed, remembering their grandfather's gruff manner. After the call, Marcus ran the first major systems test. With Solis's guidance, he activated the navigation systems, then the propulsion systems. The ship hummed a deep, resonant sound like a massive tuning fork. "How do you feel?" Marcus asked. "Strong, whole. More alive than I have been in 111 years. Solis paused. "Marcus, I am recovering more memories. I remember something important." "What?" "I was not abandoned by accident. I was sent on a mission. The Ethelings sent vessels like me across the galaxy, with a purpose. What purpose? To find species capable of understanding us. Species who could be true gardeners of the stars. I was searching when my systems failed. I drifted in the darkness, waiting for someone like you. Marcus absorbed this information. So this wasn't just luck. Me, finding you. Perhaps it was destiny, Gardener Marcus. Or perhaps it was simply time for our two species to meet. The ship's sensors suddenly pinged a warning. Solas's voice became tense. Marcus, I detect something in my recovered memory banks. Coordinates. A location. What kind of location? An Etheling archive station, still broadcasting a faint signal after 800 years. It is located in the Shroud Nebula. 2. Marcus pulled up the star charts. The Shroud Nebula was notorious, filled with sensor interference and gravitational anomalies. Most species avoided it. Can we make it there? I was designed to navigate such environments. But Marcus. Solas's voice held uncertainty. My memories suggest this archive contains something important. Something the Ethelings left behind for whoever found it. Marcus looked at the coordinates, then at the beautiful crystalline chamber around him. 3 months ago, everyone thought he was crazy for buying a dead ship. Now that ship was inviting him on a treasure hunt to one of the most dangerous regions of space. He grinned. When can we leave? We should test my systems more thoroughly first. But Marcus, I must tell you, if this archive is what I think it is, others will want it. Badly. You mean like Hexion dynamics? Yes, and worse. Marcus nodded slowly. Then we'd better move fast. Plot a course to the Shroud Nebula. Let's find out what the Aethelings left behind. The holographic display shifted, showing a navigation route through dangerous space. Outside the viewing window, stars glittered against the black. Somewhere in that darkness, ancient secrets waited. The journey to the Shroud Nebula took 5 days. Marcus spent the time learning to work with Solas's navigation systems. Flying an Etheling ship wasn't like piloting normal vessels. There was no joystick or control panel. Instead, Marcus interfaced directly with Solas through the holographic display, communicating his intentions while the ship handled the technical execution. You move through space like water, Marcus observed as they glided past an asteroid field. Normal ships would have to carefully navigate around each rock. Solas simply flowed between them effortlessly. Aetheling vessels were designed to work with natural forces, not against them, Solas explained. We use gravity wells and solar winds, like your ancient sailors used ocean currents. The Shroud Nebula appeared on their sensors, a massive cloud of purple and blue gas, crackling with electrical storms. Most ships' sensors went haywire near it. But Solas's organic systems adapted naturally, filtering out the interference. I can see clearly now, Solas said as they entered the nebula. It feels like coming home. Deep inside the nebula, they found the archive. It was built into a massive asteroid, or rather, grown into it. Crystalline structures covered the entire surface, pulsing with faint bioluminescent light. Even after 800 years, it was still alive. Marcus suited up and took a shuttle to the archive's entrance. The airlock was organic, opening like a flower when Solas transmitted the access codes from her recovered memories. Inside, Marcus found wonders. Vast chambers filled with crystalline data storage, still functioning. Gardens that had somehow survived centuries in stasis, filled with plants unlike anything in known space. And at the center, a repository of seed pods, hundreds of them, each one containing the embryonic form of an Etheling ship. Solas, are you seeing this? Marcus whispered into his comm. Yes, Marcus. These are my siblings, unborn ships, waiting for gardeners to wake them. Marcus moved deeper into the archive. In the central chamber, he found a holographic display that activated at his approach. The message played in multiple languages, finally settling on English when it detected Marcus. The hologram showed an Etheling, a being of flowing light and crystalline beauty. It spoke in a voice like music. Gruvine, Vivine, to those who garden among the stars, greetings. We are the Aethelings, and if you are seeing this, our great experiment has succeeded. We seeded ships across the galaxy, hoping that one day a species would emerge who understood stewardship over conquest, growth over destruction. Marcus stood transfixed as the message continued. We encountered many spacefaring species in our time. All were focused on expansion, domination, and extraction. They saw the universe as something to conquer. We waited for a species that would see it as something to nurture. The hologram gestured to the chamber around them. This archive contains our gift to you. Ships that need gardeners. Knowledge of cultivation techniques that span galaxies. And most importantly, our hope that you will spread these gardens throughout the stars. The message ended with coordinates to dozens of other archives scattered across the galaxy. Each one contained more seed ships, more knowledge, more possibilities. Marcus called his sister immediately. Lynn, you're not going to believe this. He explained everything while his camera recorded the archive. Lynn cried and laughed simultaneously. Marcus, do you understand what this means? The Aethelings were waiting for us. For humans. For a species that understands how to make things grow. When we doubt. When will. And scatter him. And when will. And when will. When there when will. And when will. When will. And when will. And when we. I know, it's insane. All those centuries of humans farming, gardening, learning to work with nature instead of just using it, we were training for this. Grandfather always said good gardeners are patient and careful, that they understand the responsibility of nurturing life. Lynn wiped her eyes. You just proved humans deserve to be in space. Not because we're the strongest, but because we know how to care for things. Marcus was about to respond when Solace's urgent voice crackled through his comm. Marcus, we have a problem. Multiple ships just entered the nebula. Military-grade vessels. I recognize the signature's Hexion Dynamics corporate fleet. Marcus's stomach dropped. How many? 15 warships. They're heading directly toward us. Marcus, they must have been tracking us since we left Freehold Station. Marcus ran back to his shuttle. How long until they arrive? 2. How long? 2. How long until they arrive? 20 minutes. Maybe less. As Marcus raced back to Solace, he saw them on the sensors, a fleet of sleek warships surrounding their position. The lead ship opened a communication channel. Collins's voice came through, cold and commanding. Mr. Chen, you've led us to quite a treasure. Stand down and surrender both your ship and the archive. Hexion Dynamics is claiming this discovery under salvage law. Marcus reached Solace's bridge. His mind raced. 15 warships versus 1 restored vessel and an unarmed archive. They were outgunned, outmanned, and trapped. Marcus, Solace said quietly, I will not let them take you or this archive, even if it means my destruction. No, we're not dying today. Marcus looked at the seed pods visible through the view screen. Solace. Those seed ships in the archive. How awake are they? They are dormant. Waiting for gardeners to... Solace paused. Understanding dawning. Marcus, you cannot be serious. How many could respond to your signal if we gave them a wake-up call? They are not fully grown. They would be weak, confused. But they're alive, right? They can move? Defend themselves? Solace's voice carried reluctant admiration. Yes. With my guidance and your permission to initiate emergency awakening protocols, all of them, 47 seed ships, could activate. Marcus opened a return channel to the Hexion fleet. His voice was calm but carried an edge of steel. "Collins, you made a mistake. You think you can take a garden by force? Let me introduce you to the thorns." He turned to Solace. "Wake them up, all of them." Throughout the archive, seed pods began to glow. Crystal structures pulsed with sudden light. The asteroid itself seemed to tremble as 47 infant ships came to life for the first time in 800 years. Collins's voice crackled back, uncertain now. "What are you doing, Chen?" Marcus smiled grimly. "Gardening. And you're standing in my garden, uninvited." The seed ships emerged from the archive like swarms of glowing butterflies, small, bright, and angry. They weren't full-sized vessels yet, but they moved with organic grace that made the corporate warships look clumsy by comparison. Solace's voice rang out, broadcasting to all the awakened ships. "Siblings, hear me. These invaders threaten our gardener and our home. Will you help me protect what is ours?" The response came as a chorus of voices, young, confused, but determined. "We will protect. We will defend. We are awake. And we are angry." The Hexian fleet suddenly found themselves surrounded by ships they couldn't understand, couldn't predict, and couldn't fight with conventional weapons. Collins's confident voice had changed completely. Now it shook with fear. "Chen, call them off. This is an act of war." Marcus's response was cold. "No, Collins. This is what happens when you try to steal gardens. Now get out of my nebula before these ships decide you're weeds that need removing." The battle was about to begin. The Hexian warships opened fire first. Plasma bolts and missiles streaked through the nebula's purple clouds, aimed at the seed ships. But aetheling vessels didn't fight like normal ships. The seed ships scattered like startled birds, moving in patterns no computer could predict. They phased through solid matter, slipping between plasma bolts, as if they weren't there. When missiles locked onto them, the ships simply redirected the weapons back toward their launchers, using crystalline arrays that bent space itself. Marcus watched from Solace's bridge, amazed. They're not even fully grown yet. Aetheling ships were never designed for war, Solace explained. But our biology makes conventional weapons ineffective. We evolved to survive in hostile environments. These warships are just another hostile environment. One Hexion destroyer tried to ram a cluster of seed ships. The small vessels merged together, forming a larger crystalline shield. The destroyer bounced off harmlessly, its hull dented but intact. "Solace, tell them not to destroy any ships," Marcus said quickly. "Disable only. I don't want anyone dying today." Solace relayed the command. The seed ships adjusted their tactics immediately. Instead of counterattacking, they focused on disabling systems. They wrapped around weapon arrays, their organic vines infiltrating and shutting down power conduits. They positioned themselves in front of engine nacelles, creating gravitational eddies that stalled propulsion. Within 10 minutes, the entire Hexion fleet was drifting helplessly. Collins's voice came through, desperate now. "Chen, call them off. We surrender." Marcus had been broadcasting everything. His camera drones captured the entire battle, streaming it live to his millions of followers across the galaxy. Billions of beings were watching a single human and a garden of starships embarrass a corporate armada without firing a single lethal shot. Marcus opened a galaxy-wide channel. His voice was calm but firm. "My name is Marcus Chen. 3 months ago, I bought a dead ship that everyone said was worthless. Today, that ship is alive, and I've discovered something incredible. The Aethelings left us a gift, ships that don't conquer, but grow. Technology that works with life instead of against it." He gestured to the seed ships floating around Solace. "These aren't weapons. They're partners. They're waiting for people who understand that growth is more powerful than force. That patience is stronger than violence. That gardens are worth more than battlefields." The holographic display showed messages flooding in from across human space, farming colonies, terraforming stations, botanical research centers. Everyone wanted to know more. Everyone wanted to help. Marcus looked directly at the camera. Hexion Dynamics tried to take this by force. They failed because you can't steal a garden. You can only grow one. And humans have been growing things for 10,000 years. It's time we brought that gift to the stars. He ended the broadcast and turned to the disabled fleet. Collins, you and your ships are free to leave. But spread the word, the Atheling archives aren't for corporations. They're for gardeners. The Hexion fleet limped away, defeated and humiliated. The siege ships watched them go, then turned to Marcus expectantly. What do we do now, Gardener Marcus? They asked in chorus, their young voices eager. Marcus smiled. Now we find you all proper gardeners. People who will care for you, grow with you, and help you become the amazing ships you're meant to be. 6 months later, Marcus stood in Solus's observation dome, looking at Earth. The planet hung in space like a blue-green jewel, and surrounding it were dozens of Atheling ships, each one unique. Each one partnered with a human gardener. The Atheling Cultivation Initiative had become humanity's fastest-growing program. Thousands of humans applied to become ship gardeners. Farmers from rural colonies, botanists from research stations, even city dwellers with apartment gardens, all of them bringing their understanding of growth and care to the stars. Other species watched with fascination, and, Marcus suspected, a bit of envy. The Vrin Council had formally requested a cultural exchange program. Even the proud Krell hive minds sent ambassadors, asking respectfully to learn cultivation techniques. Caltex, the Vrin engineer who had mocked Marcus, returned to Freehold Station. He approached Marcus, with his head lowered in their species' gesture of apology. I was wrong about you, human. About all humans. I thought strength meant weapons and force. You showed us that true strength is nurturing life. Marcus shook his hand, a human gesture Caltex had learned. You're welcome to visit any time. Maybe we can teach each other a few things. Lynn visited from Earth, touring Solus with wonder in her eyes. She touched the crystal walls gently, feeling them hum with life. This is beautiful. Little brother, you took something everyone thought was dead and made it bloom. We did it together, Marcus corrected, patting the wall. Me, Solus, and a whole galaxy of people who believed gardens matter. Solus's voice spoke warmly through the ship. The Athelings would be pleased. They searched for centuries for a species like yours. Species who understand that the universe is not something to conquer, but something to nurture. Marcus watched a new Atheling ship pass by the viewport, a small vessel piloted by a farmer from Mars colony. The ship glowed with soft green light, barely a month old, but already bonding with its gardener. You know what's funny? Marcus said. Everyone always wondered what humanity's role in the galaxy would be. Turns out we're gardeners. We bring life wherever we go. And what will you do now? Lynn asked. You're famous across human space. The garden man who brought Atheling ships back to life. Marcus grinned. I'm going to keep teaching. There are dozens more archives out there. Hundreds of seed ships waiting for gardeners. And I want to help every single person who dreams of growing a ship of their own. He pulled up his datapad, showing new video logs he was planning. Besides, Solus and I have been thinking about writing a guide, Atheling Ship Cultivation for Beginners. Someone's got to document all this properly. Solus chimed in, amused. We have also been receiving requests for a cooking channel. Apparently, viewers want to see what a ship gardener eats for dinner. Lynn laughed. You've become a celebrity, Marcus. No, Marcus corrected, looking at the Atheling ships surrounding Earth. We've become a movement. Humans proving we belong among the stars not because we're the strongest or smartest, but because we know how to make things grow. He walked to the viewport and placed his hand against the crystal. Below, Earth continued its eternal rotation. Above, the stars beckoned with infinite possibility. Lot 847. Marcus said softly. Best 1,000 credits I ever spent. Solace hummed with contentment. And the best gardener I could have hoped for. Marcus raised his coffee mug to the camera that was always recording. Remember, folks, one person's trash is another person's garden. Keep growing, keep nurturing, and never let anyone tell you something's impossible just because it looks dead. Sometimes, things are just waiting for the right gardener to come along. He winked at the camera. Marcus Chen, signing off. Until next time, happy gardening among the stars. The video ended with a view of Earth surrounded by glowing ethylene ships, living gardens floating in the void. Proof that humanity's greatest strength wasn't destruction or conquest, but the ancient, patient art of making things grow. And across the galaxy, in countless archives still waiting to be discovered, seed ships slumbered peacefully, dreaming of the day when human hands would wake them to life. The garden was spreading, and it was only the beginning.